The next thing we are going to test in our balloon brand comparison is ripability, or in other words, how easy is it to break the balloons. Now, I am assuming it's pretty much going to be the exact same as when we tested the thickness of the latex. I'm assuming it's pretty much going to be the exact same results because my assumption is that the thicker the latex, the harder it is going to be to rip the balloon, and the thinner the latex, the easier it is going to be to rip the balloon. But I have heard from some people that sometimes certain brands, when you rip the balloon wants to pop and not give you a clean rip. Sometimes when you rip the balloon shreds and doesn't give you a clean rip. So that's what I want to kind of test here is, do all of the brands allow me to get a nice clean break? A nice clean rip when I try to break the balloons in half. So that's what we're going to do and test. Again, I'm assuming as far as ease or difficulty, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty simple that the thicker balloons are going to be more difficult to rip. The thinner balloons are going to be easier to rip. That I feel like that would be pretty straightforward, right? So we're going to start with the thinner balloons, work our way up. Again, as far as which is easier, I mean, again, of course you want the balloons to easily rip, but of course, if the balloon rips easy, it also means it's going, the easier a balloon rips, the easier a balloon pops, right? You want the balloons to rip easily when you're intentionally trying to rip them. You don't want them to pop easily when you don't want them to pop, right? So we're going to do other stress tests on the balloons later to determine how easily do the balloon pop when you're just twisting them and you're not wanting them to pop. But right now, we're intentionally trying to pop the balloons. We're going to intentionally try to rip the balloons to see how cleanly and how easily do they rip. So we're going to start with the Jamar, okay? And we're going to do the same rip for all of them, right in the middle. And again, even before I really barely applied any pressure, they rip pretty easily. Now one side, okay, now what I will say, as far as a clean rip, one side, because it's not a nice clean rip, so I don't know if you can see here, I did the rip, but because of the way it rips, it didn't give me a nice clean rip. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of gave me a really jankety edge there. See that? It gave me a rough edge, not a nice clean rip. And the other one, it didn't allow me to kind of save both ends. The other one popped. It did not allow me to save both sides when I tried to rip that, because it popped so easily that when I went to rip it in half, one half, I didn't even let it go, it just popped. And then this one, when I let the air out, it didn't give me a clean rip. So that was the Jamar. Now let's try it with the Qualatex. Same thing. So we see here, this is what we want to see. See, it allowed me to save both sides and we got a nice clean rip. This is the Qualatex. This is ideally what you want to see from every brand, where neither side pops and you get that nice clean rip. So that's not what we saw from the Jamar. Remember, from the Jamar, one side popped completely and the other side had a really, bad jagged edge. So it did not rip cleanly. The Qualatex had a nice clean rip. Okay, so good job on the Qualatex. Now we got the Tilco. So these, I saved both sides. One side clean. One side is a little bit more jagged than I would prefer, but still not bad on the Tilco. Pretty easy rip. Now we're on to the Tuftex. Again, pretty much just like the Tilco, pretty easy. Brooklyn. Again, a little thicker, so a little tougher, but again, a nice clean rip, no jagged edges. Qualatex. Again, nice clean, no jagged edges, didn't pop. Now we're on the Elitex. And I'm definitely feeling like the thicker latex, it is getting harder to rip them. But again, nice clean rips. Next we're on the Sempertex. Again, no pops. Nice clean rips. Now we're on the Calisan. Again, none of the balloons are popping. Nice clean rips. A little bit of a jagged one on there, but not too bad. And finally, the Decomex, which was the thickest, but still a pretty easy rip. A little bit of a jagged edge there. Not quite as smooth as I would like it to be, ideally, but again, not too bad. So there you go as far as the ripability of the different brands of our balloons.